We are at the Specialty Chemicals Industry Conclave in Mumbai. It's been really interesting to have a conversation with people across the spectrum of this sector, which is one of the oldest in India. But then here's someone who is an expert who's coming all the way from China, a polymer scientist, a polymer chemist by qualification, but someone who consults across the chemical industry in China. Pflug, it's a pleasure to have you with us on this show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You know, you're somebody who has a big picture of what the specialty chemicals industry in China is. And we hear you say that the slowdown or the growth, at least as of now, is not exactly happening. What exactly is the scenario in China today?
Well, what we do see, of course, is that the economy is slowing down, and that does affect specialty chemicals. We also do have rising salaries in China. That is not so much important because the specialty chemicals are so labor intensive, but a lot of their customers are. So if I make, for example, textile production more expensive, it will hurt textile chemicals.
But then, you know, China faces, or rather India faces pretty much the challenges that China faces. I think in terms of rising labor costs, which means to say the manpower cost, but also finding that manpower. Do you think India has it in itself to rise up to the challenge that China is now offering? Because there is stricter regulations in China now, as we understand. So a lot of that opportunity could benefit India. But what's the sense that you've got after interacting with people at the conclave?
Well, I think I'm quite optimistic. I feel in many ways the Indian people are more customer-oriented, more creative than I know from working in China for such a long time. The Chinese are good engineers. They're good at optimizing a production process, but they're not as good as probably you Indians are in really getting exactly to the point to find out what the customer needs and giving it to him.
So if I understand you right, Kai, so you're saying that China is about scale and we are about specifics, maybe we are about customization?
Yes, I think that's a good description.
Right. So what do you therefore advise, or what tips would you have to offer Indian entrepreneurs who want to be in the specialty chemical space to really, you know, grab this opportunity?
Well, the Chinese, as you mentioned, they like to produce a lot of volume of the same stuff. So you need to sort of go exactly where they don't like to go. And that means, for example, having a big product portfolio, not 3 products, but 200 or 500, being willing to produce not only accepting if it's a huge amount, but only if somebody just wants 10 kilos. And also to formulate, to look if the customer says it needs to be slightly different, then you need to listen to him, need to go maybe to his plant, see what he needs, check it and give it to him. And that's, I think, where you have an advantage.
Great. China is still 10x the market that we have in India. I think in India we are talking about $25 billion in terms of value of the sector itself. But then the Chinese middle class, and this is the final question that I want to ask you, is that the Indian middle class is also no less conscious these days, you know, when it comes to environment, pollution, etc. So what are the things that you would like to leave our viewers with in terms of takeaways from what can India do right, you know, for this story that's unfolding for us?
Well, I think what China has done relatively right is having a lot of laws regarding environmental regulation, the right laws. What they didn't do right is implement them. And that was something then after the Tianjin explosion sort of became very obvious that this did not happen because China didn't have the right laws, but because nobody observed them. So ideally, if you have laws, please also stick to them.
Yes, implementation is key, I guess, and the opportunity that a Chinese slowdown may have for India, India has to tread with caution. So thank you so much for that message, and thank you for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you.